As the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to promoting diversity, equality, and inclusion within the business community and beyond. We recognize that there is still a significant progress to be made to ensure that everyone can fully participate in the economic activities at the mainstream level. As a key advocate for sustainable and inclusive growth, the FSACCI pledged to foster a business environment where all individuals, regardless of their abilities, background, or circumstance, can thrive. The goal is not just an economic development, but the creation of a society where inclusion drives innovation and prosperity. Through our initiative, partnership, and ongoing dialogue with stakeholders, we are determined to share initiatives and promoting practices that embrace diversity as a strength. Together, we can build a more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future for all.
My name is Annette Molobetsi. I'm the HR manager for Bombela Operating Company, which is a subsidiary of RTP Dev.
Bonjour, my name is Karen Longley. I am the CEO and founder of a training organization called Leading Language, which operates in South Africa, and the CEO and founder of a training organization called Amalingo, which operates in France.
My name is Gail Jacobs. I'm the Human Resources Director for Sub-Saharan Africa. So my responsibility is within South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and the Francos region.
Hi, I'm Bonolo Matle, full name Kiarabutu Bonolo. I work for Iroko Africa. It is an amazing company that specializes in consulting and engineering, fostering, sparking, and fostering eco-resilient industries in Africa.
My name is Sandrine Fanchette. I'm the co-owner of Roche Bobois franchisee in South Africa and Mauritius. Roche Bobois is a very famous French brand specialized on luxury furniture decor. We have Editor. It's an old French brand which was created by two families about 60 years ago.
Inclusion is actually one of our 4 key values as a business. In terms of the initiatives that we have actually spearheaded, it's around our recruitment and talent acquisition, where we've set it throughout the group to have gender representation of 40%. The group target was 40%. As Bombela Operating Company, we're sitting on 53% female representation within the business. And over and above that, we've also looked at key areas where predominantly it's male, given the industry that we operate in, which is the rail industry, which naturally is a male-dominated industry. We've set it upon ourselves to actually be the leaders or pioneers in changing that landscape.
Well, Leading Language and Amalingo are no stranger to DEI. We officially incorporated these principles into Leading Language as early as 2020. In fact, during 2020, when the world was on pause during the lockdown, it gave me the opportunity to think about how we were doing things and to implement different ways of doing things. Being a language training company, we were already had a diverse team working across many different cultures, creating bridges in communication through language training and translations with our clients and the various organizations we work with.
We have a very strong commitment to DE&I, and it's part of our core value and our missions. And when we look at what we've done a number of things. First of all, starting with our global parental policy and how we've implemented that to really ensure that new parents, male and female or any other gender, is really contributing in a meaningful way to the lives and bringing up of their children. And we've also done a lot in terms of implementing and instituting training and workshops to sensitize people around DE&I and what it means and bringing that narrative to life for individuals. We've also been very, very active, and we are very proud of our hiring practices, which really foster equality and really ensure that we're bringing the right people into our organization, but at the same time ensuring that there's diversity across those people.
So with our company, I would say we don't necessarily have policies or things like that because our company is built on diversity. So we are a company that is 70% women and it is women owned. And within those 70% of women, we have over, I believe, over 8 nationalities of women throughout Africa. And then with the remaining 30% is men, but within those men, we have a diverse profile as well of where they come from, how they started out and everything. So the basis of our company really runs on the fact that diversity, there's a lot of unity within diversity.
For us, it's a bit particular because, in fact, as we are a global company based, as I was saying, in 54 countries, diversity is part of our DNA. For us, integration is a keyword, but it's something we do naturally on a daily basis.
The railway industry, like I said, is predominantly male. We chose to say, but what can we do as an entity to change that story? So taking that conscious decision to say, yes, we're going to bring in females. We don't necessarily have an entire pool where we can easily go and appoint females that are already in that space. Not saying they don't exist, they do, but they don't come in drones as you would find the male counterparts. So our stance was, let's start at grassroots level. Let's bring them in at the entry of roles that would work up in terms of career pathing to the point where we want to see women in leadership roles within those spaces that one would say are predominantly male.
So there were no challenges. The opportunities have been multiple. And we have an excellent company that delivers training on things like unconscious bias. And, you know, it's once you start unraveling that problem of unconscious bias, you suddenly see the world very, very differently, because you say, oh, hang on a minute. You know, I was saying things, you say things on a daily basis where which you think are quite normal. And then when you realize, in fact, oh, what I'm saying here is I'm looking at the world with a bias, in fact, and it's very important not to have that bias.
For us, it's really about being aware of some of the unconscious biases that exist within individuals and untapping that and making sense of that and ensuring that we're having the right conversations to address some of those biases. It's ensuring that we enhance engagement and having conversations, and genuine, authentic conversations around the topic are important, because when we have obstacles, we need to be able to speak and have discussions in a way that address those obstacles.
Well, for me, and I think I'm maybe a bad example, I only see opportunities, you know, to have a diversified people, because I love people, and I think it's very important at the beginning to love people globally, and it's very important to have people which are not always coming from your same background, coming from maybe studying the same study, because if you have always the same kind of people, you have only one type of idea. And for me, it's not working. So it's very important to have people coming from different backgrounds, coming from different countries, and with a big spirit and strong character. I love people with strong characters.
leadership is critical, right? You would have your strategy being driven and spearheaded by leadership, and it's important that it's actually seen to be lived out, and it's not just something that is written in a document or it's put up on a wall as part of your values.
Leadership is important when you lead by example, when what you do reflects on the way you treat your team, the way you envisage the world, and your enthusiasm as a leader for why you do certain things and the way in which you do those things.
I would say it's a company-wide responsibility. It's not just the leaders that are responsible for D&I. Each and every individual can contribute to an inclusivity agenda, and each and every person has a role to play in fostering an inclusive environment. For us, leaders act as coaches. They are creating an awareness of potential biases, whether they be conscious or unconscious, and they're really there to create a fertile environment or landscape for people to be able to speak about the topics at hand.
And when your leadership carries it out and you see it in how everything is formulated within the company, it's way easier to be able to bring people in because people are actually excited to come to the office.
Even in each of our showroom, we implement a new system lately, which we have like co-manager. So on every showroom, we have co-manager, and most of them are quite diversified too. And when they need to recruit new employee, they work together, which allow everybody to have all the perspective they can to recruit people.
A key example that comes to mind, and this was from something that came through a challenge or struggle that our customers were experiencing, particularly at our Rosebank station, where we have a school for the deaf not too far from the station. And obviously, the students going to that school would be coming through our operations, and when they need assistance, it became a frustration because none of our employees at the time were trained to use sign language. And it became a query that was raised in one of the strategic sessions that I mentioned earlier, where some of our customer service employees were actually sharing the frustration from the customer's point of view to say, we've got customers who are struggling and we are not capacitated to actually assist them. What came out of that was us actually looking at the fact that we've got an opportunity where we can upskill our employees, number one, so it gives them a new skill which they can use within our operations as Bombela Operating Company, but they can also use it in their own social spaces or in other entities should they leave Bombela Operating Company. What that has done, we trained our customer service team at the Rosebank station. We trained one of our trainers as well to go through the same process. And now this year we are looking at expanding that to the other stations.
I've had that first-hand experience of that, right? So in my previous life, I was in sales. And I think when you bring different voices to a conversation, you bring different perspectives to a conversation, you really can bring topics to life. So as an example, we would have a conversation around a particular marketing communication, and we drew in the voices of different people, different ethnicities, genders, to really test if the communication was making sense for the South African audience. And, through that experience, we really recognized that we were enhancing the communication, we were enhancing what we were doing, and through that we made better decisions that led to greater brand affinity and ultimately the business results we were looking for.
Just sort of looking at there are many aspects of unconscious bias, but looking at it from a purely language-based problem, which is what we are. Little things like, companies saying, this person needs to change their accent. No, nobody needs to change their accent. And we've looked at the differences between accent and pronunciation. Accent is who we are. It's where we come from. It's everything that is integral about who we are as a person, our belief systems, our cultural backgrounds, our history. You can't change your accent. We can work on pronunciation. So we no longer have these sort of like, we were asked to a certain degree in the past, you know, to do programs where we would work on somebody's accent. No, that is not what we do. We work on pronunciation so that when you speak, you may speak with an accent, but you pronounce the words correctly so that they can be understood by a vast number of people. That's what's important. When I speak French, I have an accent when I speak French, but people understand me. That's the most important.
My advice would be DEI initiatives need to start with commitment from the leadership team. And commitment is not, it's more than just writing a strategy objective. It's more than just writing it as a value or writing it as something that the company likes to promote. There has to be action plans. Similar way that a company would set operational objectives, similar way that the company would set financial objectives, the same effort needs to be put into DEI objectives as well.
You know, I think that if you haven't already started this journey, and I mean, as for businesses around the world, really, whether it's in South Africa or in France, is the same. We already work in multi-ethnic, diverse groups of people. So you probably already have the basic elements. I would say start formalizing those steps, take those steps, make that journey. And I think particularly in the world that we are currently facing, the global political context, I think more than ever, it's important to show that we support DEI. More than ever, we need to rise above what the rest of the world is doing.
So I think the first thing that I would say is don't be afraid to have authentic dialogue and address the conversations and the concerns head on. For me, it's important that you create an environment, a safe space where people can speak up. They can really talk about what their ideas, their concepts, their thinking is, and through that, address the concerns that we have. So for me, it's important that, you know, we create a company-wide responsibility to D&I, and we create forums where people can address their concerns. I think one of the things that we need to be very, very aware of is that it does start with leaders. And, you know, through that, whatever we do, we can really put together a framework that speaks to sustainable DE&I over the long term.
I think they have to ask themselves what company they want to be, or are they a company that they are willing, that they would, if given the choice, they would want to go or move to. Because for me and one of my colleagues, we always say, like, it's going to be so hard for us if we want to move to a different company, because we have acclimated to this kind of foundation of everybody's helping everybody is in, you know, everybody's diverse. You get so many different cultures speaking to you. We have like French, we have South African, we have people from Benin, we have people from, it's such a wide range of cultures. And every single time we're being exposed to that, and we share our knowledge, we share how our different cultures do it, and even just over a meal or a meeting, that's how it is. And if you want to have a company that is running for the mission that you have actually set out, then you have to ask yourself, are people going to be willing to jump onto that mission if the foundation, or if should you already have built that foundation, it's not reflecting, and you write these policies, but these policies are not implemented into your business or your company, are you going to be proud of it one day?
Well, I think first it's easy when you do it from the beginning, when you create a company, because when you do it like us from the beginning, it's not something you have to make a plan. You know, it's natural and it's coming naturally. But I know a lot of company, not only in South Africa, by the way, it's worldwide. It's not something which was created at the beginning. So when they have to enforce some policies, it's maybe more complicated at a certain level. But I think they need to train first all their manager and their human resource department to be open. And I know some very big companies sometimes are doing some quotas and things like that. But for me, it's a weird concept. But I think it's really depending on every single company, or have been created, and it should be adapted to every single trade, because everybody is different. So it's difficult to have one line for different companies. Some companies are small, some companies are big, some companies are very diversified, some companies are not at all diversified. And for the one which are not diversified at all, I think it's very challenging to have all the employees, current employees, to embrace the same vision. It can be challenging, but I'm sure they can find people to help them on this new processes.